Clips and Dip. It is Friday, so we are coming at you live. Our normal third host, I don't know what order it is, but he is out of town right now in Montana. So Adam and I are holding it down after I don't know, one of the second best win maybe of the Clippers season.
I think it might have to be above. I thought the best win was the win against Minnesota
Yeah.
last weekend with Kawhi dropping 41, but the game winner in Houston to get into the All-Star break with a little bit of momentum, that was big time.
Is that a first? Like, when is the last time this team came into an all-star break not looking like they were in a straight slump?
The only other one was it 2 years ago when Coach Lou got kicked out against the Golden State Warriors and they pulled through like right after they sent PJ Tucker home and Bones Highland home. And that was the
Yeah.
game right before the All-Star break. That might have been
Yeah.
the only other time.
It feels like they always hit a little bit of a slump. But not this time around. Not this time around.
They're gonna wait till after.
Charles said in here, Charles still gave us some notes for those of you just tuning in or listening later. Adam and I are here. Charles is not, but he did send us a few notes to sort of keep us on track so we don't just talk about movies and dips over here. But he said haggle or no haggle. The Timberwolves win still stands as the best this season. Adam is haggling. I think I'm inclined to agree just with the Kawhi game winner.
The game winner was magical. Like that was much better than the game winner against the Pelicans in a game they shouldn't have been playing around with to begin with earlier in the season. This was on the road. Everybody knew it was going to him. Turnaround jumper and one draws the foul. They were down 15 in that game early on. I mean,
Yeah.
that was one of the better wins anybody's had this season, honestly.
Who's the more surprising ad? I already know your answer, but we're just gonna, since it is the start of All-Star Weekend, we're just gonna talk about it anyways. Like, who's the more surprising ad, Kawhi or was it Fox the last minute ad?
For Giannis, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. I mean, Kawhi should have been in obviously from the get-go.
From the beginning.
That was wild. They righted the wrong, and that was the coaches' vote. The coaches messed that up. They didn't vote in Kawhi for some reason. I thought so. Wait, De'Aaron Fox just got in, right?
Yeah.
He just got in. I'm trying to think. They've added, I think, 4 guys to this All-Star game. Now we're up to like 28 All-Stars or something like that. But Kawhi should have been in there day one, obviously. He could have been. I mean, I wish we voted him in as a starter, but just level of play, he could end up being all NBA first team this season. He's been that good.
Yeah. Is he in the MVP talks?
They're 2 games under 500 still. I think it's hard to make that argument. They start 6-21. If they go on to get 5 games over 500 or something like that to end the year and they get out of the play-in, then maybe you start to make that argument. But SGA, he's the reigning MVP. They still are the best team in the Western Conference. It's tough to unseat him. And Nikola Jokic, I think, can only miss like 1 more game before he's ineligible for postseason awards, MVP awards, NBA, All NBA awards.
It's
think
like a
Kawhi
repeat
could
of
get
last
there.
year, though. Like at the All-Star break, we were talking about like, where is Kawhi in your MVP rankings? Because he was getting some love, I feel like, from a very minor crowd. But
Well, he didn't come back till like mid-January last year. What, 2 years ago?
2 years ago. Yeah, man.
Okay. The 30
Time
game
flies when
stretch.
you're having fun.
When it's your year. The 30 game stretch that he had 2 years ago, yeah, where he set the all-time efficiency record with 57, 52, 90 shooting splits over 30 games. We were definitely talking about him then.
Yeah.
I think we could at least get the conversation started, but it's totally contingent on if they come out, win 7 of their 10 coming out of the All-Star break, and there's some tough games coming up, and they just continue to win. And is Darius Garland going to be back? If he's not back for a while and Kawhi keeps carrying them, then you can make more of an argument.
Yeah, agreed. We're getting some questions about that in the chat. I have not heard anything definitive. I would guess coming out of the All-Star break, do you think that we'll get something resembling a timeline of sorts?
No.
Or at least an update of any kind?
I mean, if an update is that somebody from the media asked Coach Lou about it and he says, I'm not sure, then yeah, maybe
Then
something like that. I don't,
yes, 100%. Because the latest was that there are concerns still about the surgery toe.
there's some soreness in his left toe. Yeah, that's the one that had the turf toe last season. The right toe, not so much. That was a toe sprain this year. Um,
Have you done any deep dives on the recurrence of turf toe? What are you looking at there?
the only thing I thought of is okay, so he was playing with Cleveland. He came back 7 games into the season. They were more in a win now mode. The Clippers are looking towards the future. I just think they're being more overly cautious because they know they're not a contender this season. The Cavs were, so they were playing him and they wanted to try to get him up to speed. But the Clippers aren't going to push him like that with the state of the team right now.
How have you felt about Honeymoon Harden on the Cavs?
He's looked great. I've heard the nickname.
I
He was a
I
good Clipper.
despise
I'm
it.
rooting for him.
Yeah, I despise it. I'm definitely rooting for him. I'm definitely rooting for him. Um, Anything else you want to talk about from this game against the Rockets? I mean, eh,
It
yeah,
was about as good of a feel good win as you could have, right? Before the
yeah.
All-Star break. And that was it. It tells you once again, it just reinforces the fact that this team has not quit on the season. If you're down 15 and the All-Star break is right there, and you could have a foot out the door because you know you got plans and you could give in and give up on that game and they still don't. I thought that was really special.
And uh, do you have any thoughts on Benedict Mathurin's debut?
I mean, definitely look better in game two. I was really encouraged because what do you think, Will? He was doing everything to me but score the basketball, which is the trait that he's relied upon most. That is the most, consistent thing with him is he's a bucket out there. And actually, he has not been hitting so far, but he's been making plays. He's been playing defense. He's been making good passes out there. That's the stuff we kind of worried about, not whether or not he can score. So I expect that to come along.
Yeah, I think that is gonna be one of those difficult things, especially in the absence of, like, a true place setter point guard. I think that's a little bit difficult. Um, only took 2 threes, didn't make either of them. But yeah, like you said, he was doing a lot of other stuff, and he was still a positive contributor, in that game where, if you're looking at the plus minus, a lot of ups and downs going on there.
He hit those clutch free throws late. Like he hit 4 straight free throws in the fourth quarter that were all big time shots he had to make, and that's one of the abilities he has. He gets fouled a lot. I think he's attempted like 7 free throws per 36 minutes or something like that. So that's needed on this team, especially when you lose someone like James Harden.
So did Mathurin's performance? Are you now assured that the Zoom move was 1,000% right? Are you saying good riddance? Are you burning your jersey?
How dare you? You know that would never happen. I got the zoo flu right afterwards. I literally woke up sick the next day with the flu. Like it hit me so hard emotionally. I somehow came down with the flu or something. I called it the zoo flu. But I think it was still more so about the 2 first-round picks, and Matherin's more of a wait and see.
Yeah,
Because you look at it, they're going to have to pay John Collins and him this summer. Harden's salary is off the books, obviously. Do you just redistribute that to those two guys? Is Benedict Mathurin a good fit for this team moving forward? How much is he going to demand? 20, 25 million? What about John Collins with how good he's been? I think a lot's to be determined the rest of the season with those two in particular. More so Benedict Mathurin, though, because we've seen a lot of John Collins.
Adam was absolutely physically ill after the Zoo trade. Let us know if you had any symptoms, if you have any ongoing symptoms in the chat post Zoo trade. But you're right. It's a move for the future. I I wish we had some sort of timeline on Garland. Obviously, as you said, it's not, it doesn't determine necessarily the outcome of anything this year. I mean, I think it could help them out. It would bump them up, but it doesn't like vault them into a contender conversation or anything. But having two guys now that, I mean, like are going to factor in potentially to this team's next timeline and having a lot of question marks. It feels very classic Clippers, but
It,
new.
yeah, it's it's a bridge gap to the next era, or we're seeing some of the guys who could be involved in that now. Instead of thinking, well, it's going to be Darius Garland and Ivica Zubac, the only two guys on the books. Darius Garland, maybe John Collins, maybe Benedict Mathurin. We'll see what happens. But I think to your point about it doesn't vault them to being a contender. So why are you pushing him to come back anyways this season when everything's really about the future? It was Lawrence Frank in the post trade deadline presser talking about how we want to get back to a contender status, basically. I'm paraphrasing. So that's admitting you're not one this season. We can all see their ceiling is probably maybe a first round win. Maybe that's their ceiling. Best case scenario. You still are likely going to have to get out of the play in. Kawhi's saying the goal is to get out of the play in to begin with, but that's going to be
Yeah.
really difficult.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll do a little standings watch later in the show. We got a super chat. Anytime you send those through. Those are going up on the screen.
I
But
don't care what they say. Wait a second.
well, there are some caveats. Okay. Um, the super chat. This is from MB3012. They said, Kawhi Goat Leonard, do you think another championship window can be built with Kawhi and youth, or is this more of a post Kawhi move? I mean, from what we've heard from from the front office so far, they're looking at clearing the books. They're looking at retooling and rebuilding in 2027. But I think the answer is the unfortunate answer is it depends. Like, what does his deal look like? What is he happy enough playing in Los Angeles? What is he willing to sacrifice? Which is a lot to ask for a guy who has put his body on the line pretty hard for this franchise. But I think at at the market rate or at a superstar like type deal, I don't see that being an option or a goal of this franchise at this juncture.
Yeah, Kawhi said something jokingly. I think it might have been after the win in Sacramento, right after the trade deadline. Like maybe I can ride the young guys' coattails at some point. Um, but he's going to be 35 later this summer. This will be the final year of his contract where he's making about 50 million. And I think you put it best, Will. Like, it's dependent. Does he want to come back on a cheap deal and hang around and be a mentor and also be he can star at times and have throwback type games here and there, but he's less relied upon as being the franchise player and he can just kind of blend in and star in his role. And, I think that would be interesting, but there's so much we have to figure out before that.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of stuff. Just since we're on the Kawhi topic here, not to derail things too much, but we are getting a lot of questions, obviously, about the aspiration thing, which we know there was never going to be any sort of ruling before this All-Star break. Does the put in my tinfoiliest of hats on here? Does the All-Star nod give you any indication that that could be a positive thing for the Clippers? That maybe. Maybe
No.
things aren't looking too shabby in the old law firm there.
Guys still had to get hurt for him to get in, so I don't think that much of it. It's at Into a Dome, and the fact that they haven't laid down any punishment, any ruling. We don't know what's going to happen. The 8th episode from Pablo Torre came out this week, which was kind of expected just because leading up to the All-Star game being an Into a Dome, of course, that would be big traction for him to talk more about it. I'm not saying there wasn't anything new or revelatory to it. Maybe some people feel like there was. I thought some of it was rehash, but
He needs
I've
to be finding out where Nancy Guthrie is. Enough of this. Enough of this Clippers nonsense.
yeah.
Get on the real issues, Pablo.
Well, I think he did another one this week about subject matter that wasn't Clippers related, but yeah, it doesn't tip their hand to me to being able to read whether or not this is going to be in the Clippers' favor. This ruling coming up at some point when could be this off season. We have no idea.
We really don't. We really don't. And I don't know. What do you think we're looking at there? Do you think that was a factor in the acquisition of picks? I mean, obviously the Zoo deal was just so sweet. I don't know if you're in a spot like the Clippers are at right now, how you would turn it down. But do you think that was all at all a factor?
No, I mean, Lawrence Frank said that, we operate without worrying about that or thinking about that because it's out of their control, obviously. Now, you'd worry that a ruling comes down and all of a sudden, worst case scenario, you lose the picks that you got from the Indiana Pacers or something like that. That would obviously be one of the worst case scenarios, I guess you could say.
Can they do that though? That's
I
another
have no
team's
idea.
picks.
I have no idea.
That's not even ours.
I don't want to speculate too much. I don't know where this is going. I just know it's looming and it's going to be talked about. And Adam Silver's probably going to be asked about it tomorrow with the media when he speaks about tanking and everything else. And he'll probably just say it's a league-wide investigation. There's nothing more to say at this point and dodge it. But it's understandable that he would. So we'll see if anything comes out tomorrow.
Well, that doesn't. I think that about sums up where we're at after this latest Clippers victory, going into the All-Star break strong. We'll take a little audio break here for our audio listeners. If you're watching this on live on youtube.com/Clippers Podcast, there's no break, as there should be. But coming up, we'll talk a little bit about the All-Star game. I know Adam has some thrilling updates about the celebrity game. We'll talk a little bit more about Kawhi and his appearance, as well as the Clippers standings and what the rest of the season could look like coming out of this break. So all that and more coming up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back in. Clips and Dip, Season 4, Episode 23. I'm Adam Mosley. He's Will Updike.
These seamless transitions, man. Sometimes when it's just the two of us, it's like, it's just water, Flow.
What does Chuck always say when one of us is out? Unattainably
unavoidably detained.
Unavoidably detained. Chuck is out for this one, but we're doing the live for you guys. And it looks like we'll have this up on the audio side coming up too. But it wasn't just the guys getting, a big victory, but some guys didn't play in that game against the Houston Rockets, including Nico Batum, for rest purposes. Now, I don't think the league is going to find the Clippers for tanking because of this, because they know they don't have their first-round pick this season. That wouldn't make any sense, and Nico Batum is an older player, and they got a lot of new guys out there. But what did you think about Nico getting a little bit of rest there in Game 2 against Houston?
Love it. Yeah, we got to preserve Nico as much as we can, especially during this, I always feel like during these periods of new fit things, another little spotlight goes on Nico because he can be such a glue guy.
Yeah, Nico's the one I worry about least when it comes to getting back in and getting back to a rhythm and flow. If he was out for a couple of weeks, I feel like he could hit the ground running as soon as he came back because he's such a solid vet. And that shooting's, I don't think it's the last thing to go, even as a veteran. That's always going to be there. It made sense. And I don't know what's going to happen moving forward now. Like, Bogey hasn't been playing at all and did not get traded at the trade deadline. But if you do get Darius Garland back, some of these young guys are going to have to lose minutes with Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller. I know some people were down on them because of the last week or so. They haven't been playing as well. It's like, guys, this is how this works when you're developing young players. They're not always that consistent. They're not always that steady or reliable. These are the growing pains you have to go through. This is all part of it. A lot of people are getting on Jordan Miller recently for not playing as well, and it's like, well, this is what it is. You got to accept it to some degree.
Well, and this is like every franchise that has a rebuild or has young stars. You're going through a period of some rough basketball, even much higher draft picks than a Kobe Sanders. It's just sort of unavoidable, and it's one of those things you can't have it both ways. Everybody wants the team of young all-stars, but you gotta get them there.
Yeah, I just, you're gonna take your lumps along the way as young players in this league. Even though Jordan Miller's 26, he's young when it comes to experience. Kobe Sanders is a rookie this year. They still have been instrumental in this Clippers turnaround over the last 6-7 weeks. So let's not get on them too hard when they have a couple down games here and there. It's going to be all right. They still have been pivotal. And this is how you build. This is how you develop. We haven't been this stage for so long. I think people have forgotten, that you do have to go through those growing pains, as I mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Getting some love for Mathurin in the chat. He won over Stump 45-22 in that Rockets game. So that's great to hear. And speaking of rest, like I feel like the Clippers have kind of slumped before going into the All-Star break, and we've seen them come out of long periods of rest in previous iterations. Obviously, this team has gone through several core formation changes even in this era. Which is this era over? What do we call it now?
It's not a contending era. There were always times the last few years outside the 21-22 season where they were missing Kawhi the entire time. Paul George only plays 30 games. Outside of that, there were always sections and segments of the season that would get us back into saying, if this goes right, if this player gets healthy, we could talk ourselves into still being a contender. I don't think you can do that this season. I think even the most positive Clipper fan, they may still think there's a chance. But look, I think success would be getting into a first round series and playing competitive basketball, getting experience for the young guys, and let the chips fall where they may. But I don't think they're a contender, especially in this Western Conference right now. It's just you lost losing Ivica Zubac. I mean, what does that do for you in matchups against, Nikola Jokic now in a playoff series, who was basically like at or below his averages last year in that 7-game series? And a lot of that is due to Ivica Zubac. You don't have your backline defense guy anymore, your defensive anchor. That hurts you. I just don't know if you can really make that case anymore. And that hasn't been the deal for years with this Clippers team. We always thought, at some point they could get to contender status.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, look, our version of contender status this year is like if you can get into that 7-8 and only have to win one play-in game, I would consider that a massive success on the season. I mean, obviously, best case scenario, you match up with the Spurs, you get some like actual playoff experience for this lineup. Hopefully, you have a healthy Garland by then, and you can get this iteration of the Clippers in some sort of a playoff series. And I actually do think that long term, that's better, obviously, than the outcome would have been, if Harden and Zoo are still on the team, because this year was always kind of like an in-between year. It's a little bit of a stopgap year. And while we didn't know exactly what was going to happen at the trade deadline, the best case scenario is like you get playoff reps with a lot of older guys who have already been there. So you're not really getting a whole lot of new data there. And then, you're still looking to offload guys, do a major shift in the offseason if you don't do it at the trade deadline.
Yeah, if your transitional season is making the playoffs and getting in a first round series and being competitive, that's a damn good year for a transitional phase that this team is going through. I mean, I think that would be viewed as a success. We'll see. There's too much work to be done with 27, 28 games left and a schedule that gets tougher along the way. And they're only in ninth place right now in the West. So they got plenty of work to do here.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Let's pivot a little bit to the back to the All-Star game. We talked about Nick Batum getting a little bit of a break. Do you have any thoughts on what we're going to see from Kawhi in this All-Star game? Do you have any breaking updates you need to share from the celebrity game currently going on as we're streaming, which is a crazy conflict for us? I don't know why we opted to do that, but I know a lot of people were peeling you away from what you'd like to be watching.
Keenan Allen can hoop a little bit. I thought it was interesting that Giannis had Shams on his team. So a guy who he didn't seem to be too fond of with his reporting about Giannis over the last year with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now he's coaching on the sidelines here. And everybody was freaking out that Giannis, it looked like, Shams was looking at his phone while he was on the bench, like for breaking news. And Chris Haynes actually put out that Zach LaVine is out for the season with a right hand surgery he's dealing with, as if the Kings want any of their guys to be playing anyways that could actually help them get victories. Jaren Jackson Jr. is out for the season. Hope he's okay, of course, dealing with that abnormal growth, but they said it wasn't cancerous. But that's about as good as we've gotten so far in this game. Oh, Taco Fall has been out there dunking on people at 7-6 a little bit. It's not great, but are they ever? Is this whole weekend? Is it just more about the kids? Like, is it what's the Principal Skinner thing? Like, am I out of touch? No, it's the children. Like maybe
It's the kids who are wrong.
the older crowd that bashes All-Star Weekend forgets what this is really about a little bit. And I'm just happy it's at Intuit Dome and they're going to put on a great show for him. And we'll see what Kawhi ends up doing, because I wonder with the finger issue that he was shaking and not even giving high fives with in that game against Houston, which made that performance even better. How much is he going to play in the All-Star game,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting too. It's like talking about All-Star Weekend. They're sending something that the NBA is sending something like 200 influencers to the get and like content creators across social media platforms, like to the All-Star game. So they're clearly trying to shift it a little bit younger too, trying to figure something out there. But it's been cooked for a while. She's well done.
What did you think of what Kevin Durant said the other day? Actually, it was post game, I think, right after the Clippers beat him,
Pull
saying
up the
that
quote.
he basically said, "Why are you guys looking at the old heads being the
Yeah.
problem for the All-Star game eroding? What about Luka? What about Nikola Jokic? Are they competing out there? Are they playing hard?" I'm paraphrasing. That's basically what he said. And I think there's two ways to look at it. First of all, it's easily refutable because you're the old heads for a reason. You've been in way more All-Star games for way longer than Luka and Jokic have been in the All-Star games. So if anyone's responsible for the game being less competitive, it would be the old heads and the guys who've been playing in it for years that changed the level of competitiveness in the game. The other way could be Kevin Durant trying to inspire more competition by taking a shot there at Luka and
I
Nikola
like it.
Jokic. What
I
do you
like
think?
it. I like it. Yeah, why not? Light a fire under them. I don't know. Like competition, like the lack of competition at the All-Star game isn't something that's entirely surprising. I mean, it's a break for these guys. It's summer vacation and it's I kind of feel like they should just lean into that being the vibe. Like I just let it be like a little bit goofy and weird. Like I don't think people like pressing full court is going to change how I feel about the All-Star game. Like I don't think that that's suddenly going to be like, "Oh wow, this is definitely way better than it was."
Yeah, I think the last good one we had was in 2020 where Kawhi was the MVP. It was right after Kobe's death. I think it was in Chicago. And it was the first one with the Elam rules. So there was a score that you had to hit. So there was going to be a game winner. And it came down to the very end. And that was a really fun game. But that was, 6 years ago now. That was the last time. And then before that, every once in a while, Jordan's last game was good. There was a time, I think in 2000 or 2001, where the East had like a 20-point comeback. There have been some games here and there that have been fun. But I do think a lot of it is just nostalgia and people, painting a prettier picture than it actually was back in the day. Yes, they were more competitive. I also have footage of a game from like 1990 where at the very beginning, Dennis Rodman fouls somebody, and the announcers say, "Oh, it looks like they might actually want to play some defense this year in the All-Star game." Well, why are they saying that if it was known for being more competitive back then? No, even back then, they didn't play a lot of defense. So it's just what it is. I think we overly scrutinize a lot of things that, it's show fodder. It's for talking heads to debate, I guess.
Yeah. I think like all-star selection, I do think is important. I think there should be some changes in the way that the like how those votes are tallied and who ultimately gets there versus it like just solely like versus there being a lot of the fan vote and everything. Not that it isn't for the fans, but I think like just being able to have the all-star thing on your resume. I mean, we know that it affects contracts and everything else. So I do still think that that is important, even if the game itself isn't as important. I still think like the designation and the recognition. I do think that there's something to that.
It would be nice if voters took things more seriously And part of it is, so for the starters, it's what, a third fans, a third media, a third players. So a couple of the players voted for Bronny James. Like, they don't take things seriously. They don't care enough. And then you realize at the end
Were
of a
they Clutch
guy's
clients?
career, possibly it could have been just his dad voting for him and somebody else.
LeBron voter fraud? Pablo Torre, investigate.
But all-star votes matter. I would think all NBA is more significant, but it would be nice if people, took it a little bit more seriously, because when you look at a guy's Wikipedia at the end of his career and you're talking about someone's legacy, that's something that gets brought up early on, and it can affect Hall of Fame status too. But we know there's far more, all-stars than just the 24 total, with how deep and how talented the league is now. So there's always going to be snubs. That stuff's going to happen. But
Should
yeah,
they
it's been
expand the
perfect.
roster to 30?
I mean, we ended up getting to 28 right now just because all the injuries going on. The replacement all stars in there, so I don't know. It is what it is. I don't like saying that, but I think we're maybe trying a little bit too hard to correct it. And look, if it's more competitive on Sunday, I'm all for it. That'd be great. If the slam dunk contest ends up being very competitive and we see some new dunks out there, even though the guys that are competing aren't exactly the big names, cool. I am interested, probably most, the 3-point contest,
Yeah.
because they have some real guys with real names out there. Damian Lillard's even participating. And I know some people don't like that because he's taking a spot away from a guy who's actually played this season. And I totally understand that. But I'm also very intrigued to see a guy who's coming off an Achilles that's only been shooting be in this contest, who has, I think, won it before.
The 3-point competition has weirdly become like the most exciting part of All-Star Weekend. Like,
I
the dew
texted
ball?
Noah.
There needs to be more dew balls in other portions of the game.
Yeah, the Mountain Dew 4-point ball, whatever it is. Yeah, I'm good with that. But the All-Star game being, it's a round robin with 3 different teams, 4 games total, 12-minute quarters for, it's 4 12-minute quarters in 4 different games.
Yeah.
So hopefully we do get the world team versus one of the Stars or Stripes teams in the final, because maybe that would get guys up for it a little bit more, just playing for their country. We'll see.
I mean, the Olympics are going on. I mean, great news in the chat. Noah Eagle announcing the rookie game.
Yeah, I texted Noah. I was like, "Could you guys put the 3-point contest last, please, instead of the dunk contest Saturday night?" I think he might be involved with that too. But yeah, Noah Eagles, the young goat, is all over it, as he should be.
As he should be. Who's the next Clipper to get an All-Star nod? Currently on the roster.
Looking towards future years here.
Yeah.
Garland.
You think it's Garland? Mathurin doesn't make a jump.
Hey, he could. He's a 2-time All-Star so
He's got the
far.
pedigree.
Yeah. What if things don't go well enough and Mathurin's not on the team after this season? The contract, he wants too much. I don't know. Garland's just the chalk bet, the betting favorite.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or Kobe Sanders.
I was gonna say, what about Kobe Sanders though? Haggle, no haggle.
We shall see. Do we want to get to some of the standings here at the All-Star game?
Yeah,
Now at the break?
Yeah, let's break it down. Where are we at, Adam?
Clippers
have fallen
team.
to 10th.
Wait, they're I thought they were 9th. What happened here?
Wait.
Nobody's.
Are they above
drop to 10th?
Do they have
because
yeah, we have an identical record to the Trailblazers.
Well, the Clippers have 1 less win than them and 1 more loss. This is interesting. Portland's 27-29. They have a 4.82 win percentage. The Clippers are 26-28, a 4.81 win percentage. So they're just behind them. Even though, have they beaten them both times this season now? I feel like that might be true.
I think so.
Regardless, Clippers this is it. You got work to do. Now, staying in the play-in should not be a problem. Memphis, tanking. Dallas, tanking. Utah, obviously tanking. New Orleans, just bad. They don't have their first-round pick this season because they got, what's his name? Queen in the draft. They traded with Atlanta. Sacramento, bad. Tanking also. So, Yannick scores the first points. Rising
Hello.
Stars game. There's the MVP. There's your next All-Star, maybe. Uh, so I do think the Clippers are secure to get in the play-in, but like we talked about earlier, get in that 7-8 matchup, win it, be the 7th seed. You don't want to be 1-8 and then you end up taking on Oklahoma City in the first round because the San Antonio Spurs are still 3 games back of OKC, even though they beat them 3 times. I don't think they're going to be able to take the number 1 spot from them. What you really don't want to see is Denver get going the rest of this season and they take the number 2 seed away from San Antonio, because I think it would be more favorable if you get in that 2-7 to face San Antonio with their youth and inexperience, even though it would still be a really tough series and they'd be favored. You'd rather see them than Denver, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. They don't have the reps, and us having some younger talent too. I do think it's like an interesting. I do think it's a more interesting matchup versus a Denver team that kind of has our number in the playoffs. How do you like the chances if we do end up in that 7-8 matchup? Let's say we got to take on the Suns.
Cake.
One game.
Light work. The Suns in a playoff series, a problem for the Clippers. They've lost to them 3 times in the playoffs, unfortunately, in their history.
With there's some asterisks in there, I believe.
No, you're right. You're right. But in a 1-game play-in, I think they get the job done against this Suns team, because the Clippers, they put themselves in that hole starting 6-21, but on paper they're just a much more talented team. And if you're telling me Darius Garland's going to be back later this season, which you would expect.
I am telling you that.
Well, I think they're the best then of Phoenix, Golden State, Portland in that grouping right now in the play-in easily.
Yeah.
In fact, everybody else up top would be rooting for the Clippers to lose in case they draw them in a first-round series. The Clippers would be that sneaky, dangerous team nobody wants to see in a first round.
Ooh, can't wait for the talking heads to hop on that one.
That's usually when things go wrong for us, but yeah. Even okay, so they're currently, they're basically tied with Portland. They are 2.5 games back of the Golden State Warriors right now. Golden State, is Steph Curry playing in the All-Star game? Has Steph Curry been back yet? They obviously lost Jimmy Butler for the season. They didn't make some huge trade move. They brought in Kristaps, and he unfortunately dealing with the illness. I think the Clippers can chase them down.
Pots.
2.5 games.
He's got pots.
It's honestly sad. I love Kristaps' game, and I actually like that move for Atlanta. I thought that would have been interesting. They still play Golden State here 2 more times, including the last game of the season once again. This time it's an Intuit Dome, unlike last year where they won that nail biter, the play-in to stay out of the play-in against them. So Golden State is definitely a team to watch 2.5 games up, chase them down to get in that 7-8.
Yeah. I mean, those are the most. I mean, the Suns could hit a skid, but I'm seeing from where I'm at right now, the Warriors and Trailblazers being the most likely fallers if the Clippers are to rise outside, into a better play-in position.
Yeah. Phoenix also just got Devin Booker back. Now they're currently, they're 5.5 games up.
Yeah.
On the Clippers. But we've been waiting for them to come back to the pack a little bit. They did go 5-5 their last 10 games before the break. They've been missing Jalen Green throughout most of this season. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the biggest negative, but Dylan Brooks has been holding it down. Devin Booker came back right before the break. They have a defensive identity now. It's going to be tough to get 7th. It's really 8th where you just have to hop over Portland and the Golden State Warriors. So therefore, you'd be on the road for that play-in matchup in the 7-8, likely against Phoenix. Maybe is the most likely scenario right now.
We're getting some hopeful takes in the chat. Ali Malik LAC says, I still think 6th, which I
Phoenix
don't
is
know.
5.5 games up on them. That's a lot to make up. And then
6 is 7 games away.
Yeah, Minnesota's 34-22. And if you look at strength of schedule, the Clippers, they're right now. Ooh. Okay. So wait a second. No, this is good. They're 28th in strength of schedule remaining. That's
the Clippers are.
The Clippers are. Now Portland's 30th, and Portland's right there with them. And then you look at Golden State, they're 16th. So virtually everybody else is going to have a tougher strength of schedule moving forward, including the Suns, who have the 9th toughest strength of schedule. Minnesota actually has the 3rd toughest. So there is that going in their favor, at least.
Yeah. Would you? What standings are you watching closer right now? Clippers play-in position or Pacers draft pick position?
I'm watching the Clippers a little bit more closely, but make no mistake.
You have 2 tabs.
Yeah, I can walk and chew gum here. And Indiana, they ended up winning that game against the Knicks that I did not expect to happen. And I was like, hey, go Pacers there. And they just got fined, what, $100,000? They didn't get the same fine that Utah got, but they got fined for violating player participation policy. So they just won their last 2 games against the Knicks and the Nets before the All-Star break. We do want them to win. We do want them to win some. Not a crazy amount, but we do want them to win. Winning a crazy amount would be crazy because they're 15-40 on the season, and Zubats hasn't played yet.
So someone in the chat is asking, how do you stop tanking? I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring. The in-season tournament should be for the teams that are eliminated from the playoffs, and there's some sort of incentive there in your draft pick, like not an outright like who wins gets the highest pick, because I don't think that that's fair, but you have some sort of multiplier in your increase odds.
Yeah, I think this is a very unique level of tanking we're seeing currently because of the upcoming draft class and just how things have gone with some of these teams and protected picks, like Utah having a top 8 protected pick, or else it goes to OKC, or the protected pick now with Indiana where they're incentivized to lose more, or else it goes to the Clippers. Like maybe we're making a little bit too much out of, yes, it is wild seeing tanking before the All-Star break. That's starting way too early. If it's, mid-March, late March, early April, whatever, that the league's been dealing with that for a long time. I just don't know what the owners are going to sign off on doing. What's realistic when it comes to changing some of these rules to avoid tanking.
And it doesn't always pan out in your favor is the other thing. It still sucks for the on-court product, but
unintended consequences could happen if you try to, because that's what happened with them flattening the odds in 2019. Yeah. They said instead of the worst team having a 25% chance of getting the first overall pick, we're going to flatten the odds so the top 3 worst teams or the bottom 3 worst teams all have a 14% chance of getting the overall first pick. So now last year, you get Dallas, who I think only had the 10th worst record in the league, ending up getting the first pick. San Antonio got second. The teams that were the worst 3 teams in the league last year, none of them got top 3 picks.
Yeah.
So then they go, okay, I guess we got to take again this year. Because we didn't strike iron. We weren't able to get our top pick, so we got to go back in.
Yeah, and that's the process. Like if it doesn't result in a top 5 draft pick, unless it's you really hit on some gold or it's like a particularly loaded class, it's very likely that you're going to be in a similar position the next year.
Yeah.
I say remove the aprons. Make people spend more. Make your team better with money.
better for the Clippers. Know that, yeah. I don't know if there's any easy solution for tanking. We'll see. Adam Silver, he'll be asked about that tomorrow too.
Yeah.
Did Yannick take a three or make a three or just take a three?
I think he took a three.
But he didn't make it because he hasn't made one yet. I think he's taken like 2 this season.
Let me see if I can pull up this box score.
Like he's out of the game right now. He is capable. I pulled the audio earlier. I put it at Fall Out of May because I stumbled upon this when they drafted him, but I went back to some of his Penn State interviews. And the guy asking the question says a lot of your teammates say you're one of the best shooters on the team. You know, and how much do you work on that? Like he's been working on shooting for a long time.
Oh, he made one. He's 1 for 2 from 3.
Oh, he made one. Yeah.
Let's go.
He should definitely show it off in this game to get the coaches to give him the green light. Because he hasn't made one, but I don't know how many he's attempted so far this season. I thought he's attempted at least one. Yeah, 0 of 2, 0 of 3 in the regular season.
X-Mongo Project keeps pitching an idea that I like about the tanking issue, which is that teams should vote on the top 8 because naturally the teams will vote for the worst teams to get the top pick. But I still think that could go awry.
They'll vote for the worst teams to get the top pick. Interesting. Because they don't want OKC to get it. They don't want any of the best teams to get it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Again, I think it just needs to be more odds based than an outright like that. This is your number.
Like the NFL.
Yeah.
Because it's too monumental. There's 5 guys on the court. 1 superstar makes such a big difference in the NBA.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're
gonna have to sleep on this one. We're gonna have to think about this some more.
We'll talk to Adam Silver tomorrow, guys.
Are you doing any All-Star stuff? Are you gonna be over into it at all?
No. No.
Not one of the 200 bust in by the NBA, huh?
The influencers.
Yeah.
I can't even hate. If I had a business, I'd be like, let's just get a bunch of influencers that have a bunch of followers. That's a great idea for advertising.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Why would you not do that? I know it's popular to hate all these things and label people influencers and stuff, but hey, that's marketing in 2026.
Do you have any parting thoughts on this rest break for the Clippers, where their space should be at? What do you want to see guys doing during this week?
I want to see Kawhi not shaking out his hand on Sunday. I hope he's got some relief after having a few days off, and the hand issue isn't going to be a problem moving forward. I just want to make sure, guys stay with that same level of intensity coming out of the break. Because if you can make big trade moves like the Clippers did anybody make 2 bigger trade moves than they did? And they still went 3-1 post-trade deadline. This team, once again, has not quit. They didn't quit when they were 6-21. They didn't quit after the trade deadline. They didn't quit down 15 the last game before the All-Star break. They've had all these opportunities to give in, and it hasn't happened yet. So they just got to keep holding on to that rope.
Yeah. Hold on to the rope over this All-Star break. I want to see Garland in a rascal scooter. I think that would be good. Just rest up there, buddy. Put up some shots from the rascal. Want to see Mathurin just relaxing, get a good breakfast. Yeah, I don't know. I'm ready. I'm ready to get away from the fake basketball and get back in, especially with the note that we ended on in that Rockets win. But I think that'll about do it for this stream. Do you have any other parting thoughts? Do you want to leave the folks with something positive?
Yeah, Yannick could be him. I'm dangerously high on Yannick, as I've been saying since the summer. Dangerously high on Yannick, the real drug. Did he just have another dunk? Yeah, another throwdown. Not a lot of defense being played in the Rising Stars either here. I'm okay with it.
Oh, all right. We got another super chat come through, so we have to answer those. Stump 4522 wants to know: do you think Chris Paul is going to start a podcast after announcing retirement? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Who would want to be a guest?
Oh, I don't know if CP3 is that type. I don't know. Is he big social media guy? Has he ever been that?
No,
I don't
not
think
really.
so. He does the commercials, I guess. Damn, Yannick put his head on the rim.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But congrats to CP3. Incredible career. All-time great Clipper. Wish things ended better this season, unfortunately. It's tough.
We'll still probably retire the jersey, though, right?
Oh, we got to. I say retire his and Blake's same night. Put them up in the rafters and into a dome.
Does he show up?
Come on now.
All right. Well, that will do it for this stream. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We usually do these every Friday around 5:30 p.m. You can catch those over on youtube.com. That's at Clippers Podcast. You can also listen to this wherever you listen to podcasts. If you happen to listen over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead, leave a little rating or review. Loving all the Yannick love in the chat. But that'll do it for us. We are Clips and Dip. Until next time, as our unavoidable